Welcome back, everybody, to the Meet the Bus podcast. I am your host, Jeffrey Reckes, and this is episode Troop, otherwise known as episode 11. And today, we have a very special guest on. I'm very excited for this one. It's been a long time in the making. Since it's episode 11, we had to have somebody on from Troopers. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy I have on today has marched Troopers 2019. He marched boats in 2020, or was going to march boats in 2020. He also marched the Blue Devils 2022. Nick, you gotta go.
Sorry about the reason. I can't make it.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to the Meet the Bus podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Reckes, and this is episode Troop, otherwise known as episode 11. And today, got a very special guest on the podcast. We had to do it right for episode 11, and the guy I got on today, he marched Troopers in 2019. He was supposed to march boats in 2020. He marched the Blue Devils in 2022. He is a DCI champion. He lives with Austin Berry. He was also on the podcast, episode 5, I believe. Please go check that out if you haven't already. His power is back on. The kids know him as Mr. H. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on Nick Hmeljak. Welcome on to the program, good sir. Welcome on. I really do hope that we kept that. I hope that we kept that little silly intro at the beginning, because I needed that, man. I needed a fun one. It's been a serious. It's been like a couple weeks of some serious interviews, and I love them, and they've been incredible interviews. If you haven't gone and checked them out, please go check those out. They've been fun. But I'm ready to dive in. How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm pretty good. That was quite the intro.
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah, no, my power's back on. I was supposed to be on like a couple episodes ago, but it didn't work out because a tree fell in my backyard. And
do you want to tell the people at home what happened with that?
Yeah, so I just moved to Kansas City, and there was a storm that rolled through, and we have this big tree in our backyard, and it took down the tree. And the tree took down the power line, and then they didn't come fix it for like a week. And that was like the only week that was like freezing. So we were just like, yeah, it was cold. It was dark. It was just like a mess. But now it's chilling. I got a space heater now, which honestly, dude,
nice.
Hold on, this guy deserves a shout out.
Bring him on the screen. Bring him on the screen for us real quick. Let's get a look at the guy.
This guy is like my Lord and Savior.
Oh, and he's like, look at that. It's like he's portable.
Yeah. It's the cheapest one I could find, and honestly, it keeps me nice and warm. Because we live in an old house, so even if we turn the heat on, it's still cold. So.
Oh, you gotta know. What was so crazy about that, though, as we've talked about, this was supposed to happen like 3 weeks ago or something like that. That's why I ended up doing the buy stop video. But it was crazy because the night that we were going to record, I like FaceTimed you, and you were just sitting in the dark with like a little candle, like we were going to do like it
was gonna be like
ghost stories.
It was like right before Halloween too.
Yeah, you were like, okay, so I got 2 candles burning around me. And I mean, I can put more behind me. I can find if I have any more. We could still do. I was just like, hey, let's wait till the power's back on. Yeah. I think we can wait for that. I think we can wait. I think we'll be okay. So let's hop into it, man. Let's hop into it. So something that we ask every single week, every single person that comes on, something I want to know. What inspired you to pick up your instrument?
Oh, pick up my instrument.
Or maybe before we even get into that, maybe tell the people what your instrument is, how you got into music.
Yeah, so I play. I'm a trumpet player. I play it every single day. Started playing back in the 6th grade. I saw this recording of Louis Armstrong, and I was like, I want to play that instrument. And that's why I picked it. It was honestly a toss-up between trumpet and flute back in the day, but looking back, I'm so glad I didn't play flute. No shade to flute players, but like, I mean, I don't think I would have gotten very far with flute. So,
I got you. How did you find out about DCI?
Yeah, so that's actually interesting. I was working at this sailing camp teaching little kids how to sail. There was a girl that was working there with me that we were friends. This is in Indiana. So she went to prelims at Lucas Oil, and she was like, dude, have you seen the Blue Coats this year? And I was like, what is the Blue Coats? And that was the year Downside happened. And she sent me the video of it, and I was like, that is crazy. That is crazy. And then I remember like for the next pretty much a really long time, I was like, anyone I met, I was like, dude, do you know what drum corps is? Do you want to see a video of it?
Downside up?
Dude, I was like the biggest bando. No, I think it was a very wholesome love for the activity. And I was like, I kind of just wanted to do that. So I was like, I'm sure I'll figure it out one day. And then
I was going to say, because where you went to high school, which by the way, I mean, I know, but maybe for the people that don't know, if you want to talk a little bit about, because your high school experience was a little different in terms of because I mean, most schools, they got the marching band, they got the football team, the whole 9 yards, but in your experience, that was a little different for you. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So my high school, we had like a sit down band and a pep band, but we didn't have like a marching band. Mm-hmm. So my first time being in a marching band was with the Troopers, and
which is insane.
Dude, I totally cheesed my way into DCI because
we're discovering today the highway robbery that is Nick's DCI career.
Right now, I 100% cheesed my way into the activity because I knew I really wanted to do it. And I didn't tell, I told maybe a handful of people while I was still marching, just because I didn't really want people to know. But I guess now I'm not marching anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But I never did high school band. And I think the only reason I made the Troopers is because they were switching their technique that year from straight leg to bend leg. So nobody knew how to march bend leg. And I didn't know how to march at all. So
we're all in this thing together.
It all worked out. I marched with the Troopers, and then after that.
Real quick, because you were skipping ahead in my. You're skipping ahead a little bit.
You take the lead, buddy. You take the lead.
How did you land on the Troopers?
What happened was, being like the bando I was like, okay, look, I'm not saying, Okay, so what happened was sorry, I had to collect my thoughts.
Also, if I laugh way too hard, it's just because I've known Nick forever. So by the way, let's just get this out of the way. I've known Nick since he was my first friend I ever had at where I went to college. Ever. Literally, I've never had friends until I met Nick.
For me, dude, you should have seen him. He was like, yeah, how about the weather?
How about the blue coats?
Okay. No, yeah, Jeffrey and Jeffrey was also my very first friend in college. We were in the same orientation group.
Shout out Iceland.
Shout out Iceland, dude. Shout out to Jared Kirkpatrick, our tour guide.
Patrick.
Yep. Yeah, I auditioned for the Bluecoats my junior year of high school. Was 100% not ready yet to march there. So I got cut. And then one of the trumpet techs there gave me some really good advice on what to work towards if I did want to march Bluecoats. They basically send my information. I think they do this for most people, is they just send it out. It's pretty standard. You get cut from a top corps, they send it out to everywhere else. So yeah, I get an email a bit later from the Troopers being like, hey, we got your information from the Bluecoats and you should come audition for us. And I was like, I'm so down. So I sent them a video. They were like, come on out to the live audition. And then I did. And then I got the spot. And that's how I got to Troopers.
So was your first camp your first ever time marching in general? Just ever? Yeah.
Well, so that's I had to march at the Bluecoats audition, and I had to do marching for the Troopers audition too, the video I sent them.
But the Bluecoats camp was your first time marching for real?
Pretty much. I mean, my high school, the pep band would put on. We had maybe 2 sets for a show. So no shade to my band program. I got a lot out of it, honestly, but that's just how it was. But yeah, so my first time actually being in a real visual block was with the Troopers.
That's such a short amount of time to pick up just anything. It's because those they expect everybody who's there to have already done high school band or some sort of marching, so that it's just they can talk about something and people are I have a general knowledge of what that means. I think I can apply that right now. But you coming in, it really does take muscle memory and using the body and understanding how to move your body to really understand marching just in general, because it takes a lot of coordination, especially at a young age. A lot of coordination. So it's how did you handle all of that mentally?
That's a good question. For me, it was all super new, but to be honest, like it was not too bad because since they were switching from straight leg to bend leg, pretty much nobody knew what they were doing. So, I was kind of in the same boat. So I was pretty much like right there with everyone else. Like, but although I will say when the first time I got handed a drill chart, I was like, I have no idea what this means. Like, how can I be outside of like the 45-yard line and what is side two? Like, what?
Yeah. Like as soon as you ask somebody, you're like, how do I read this? Or like, how did you get a contract here?
No, dude, honestly, the people like at Troopers, fortunately, I think the trumpet section at Troopers that year was like pretty like chill. So like, I think we bonded over various things, and so they were all super helpful. And I definitely started out the season as like by far the worst person on the field.
Oh yeah.
But, like, I did like, we had spring training in Idaho, and the first half of it was super chill because it was in a chill part of Idaho, and then the second half of it was not so chill because it was in a terrible part of Idaho. The first part, we didn't even have like a football field. It was a javelin throwing field. Yeah. So, and most of the first part of the show, the trumpets were on the side of the field where the javelins landed. So there was just massive holes in the field. And so like we had a set where we were jazz running, which I already had no idea what that meant. I had literally no idea. And like, so I just like I pretty much just like watched other people, what they were doing. And I figured it out from that.
Yes.
But I remember like the second day of spring training, I jazz run straight into like a pothole and I twist my ankle, and that was not fun. But I don't know. I honestly, like, I learned a lot from Troopers. I think I personally had like a pretty decent experience there. Everything, despite everything else, but like but I think part of that was just because everything was so new to me that the entire season was like, whoa, I didn't know that was a thing.
We're taking this all in stride. Yeah. So quick question. When you leave, was drum corps your first time ever leaving home, like just by yourself?
No, I mean, probably for that extended period of time, I traveled a lot as a kid. I had like a lot of experience, like going on planes, taking long car rides, and I traveled without my parents before that too. But I think, drum corps pretty much for everyone is like the first time you're away from your parents.
Yeah.
For
a
like
long time.
Months.
Yeah. How did you handle that? Especially at a young age. I mean, you're a senior in high school, so like I guess in the activity you're not necessarily like old, but you're not young. So you're not young, but you're not old. The whole thing is the reverse of that. But like, how do you handle that at that age?
Yeah, I mean, I got to Troopers when I was 17 and I turned 18 on tour, and I think there was just so much information coming at me that I didn't really have a lot of time to think about it. But I mean, I just like kept up with my parents and just like told them how stuff was going. And like, it wasn't like too difficult for me, honestly. I don't think I really experienced a lot of homesickness. But again, I think that's just because I overloaded.
I think it's good. I think it's almost a positive that you didn't have time to think about anything really, like think about anything or taking time to really process everything, because I feel like that's where a lot of nerves come from in general, because so much of drum corps, once you get out and you get into move-ins and then you keep going through it, a lot of it really is just like the mental battle of a summer. It's like sometimes it, like especially when you get into tour and you get to late tour, it really is like a complete mental battle, and like the physical part is there for sure, but at that point you've done the same thing so many times over and over and over every day that it's like it really is about the mental battle you have with yourself every day. So I think that's almost like a positive, that it was just like, yeah, I'm taking all of this new information just in stride and we're just going to keep moving forward. So I think that's incredible. Something I want to talk about with you real quick is, did you ever have a like welcome to drum corps moment, as in like a okay, this is what this is?
Yeah, probably like as soon as I got to like week 3 of my first spring training is when I really started to realize, because the first 2 weeks, again, I was just like so overwhelmed by everything, or not even overwhelmed, honestly. I loved it. I was so into it. I don't know. I don't think it was until we moved housing sites for spring training and we got to this place that was like a million times hotter than the first place, and there was like literally nothing except for like an elementary, middle, and high school right next to each other, and then onion fields for as far as the eye can see. It was, dude, you want to talk about being in the middle of nowhere? We were in the middle of nowhere. It was crazy. As soon as we got to that housing site, I think maybe like 2 or 3 days in is when I really started to realize like, I don't really feel like waking up and going to block today. Like, can I go home? No, that was probably like the first time that I like sort of hit a wall. And then I remember the second time, and I think the only other time on tour that I really hit a wall is when the Denver show got rained out in 19, and we had the longest bus ride of the year going from there to Kansas.
I remember you guys left that show. Like,
Yeah.
it happened for like, some people did like exhibitions that night. It didn't like happen competitively, but like some people ended up doing exhibitions. And I remember like our buses were right next to yours. And
yeah, dude.
Pulling out.
No, it was kind of fun though, because the Crossman guard bus was parked right next to ours. And so we started like holding up our phones with words on them to talk to.
That's hype.
And, like, synced up Bluetooth speakers. And we would just had like a dance party with the Crossman guard bus. It was kind of sick, actually. So honestly, like the Denver show getting rained out for me, even though I was super excited, everyone was like, dude, it's the nicest grass field ever. Even though I don't know. I don't know if I actually ever did get to march that show, because in 22, it was in a different
spot. They did Colorado State, right?
Yeah, it was a different stadium.
Whack. Hella whack. Get it back in Mile High. Get it back a mile high. Nicest grass field? I guess you could say that because it's a professional field. I guess so. I don't know. I really do like marching on turf. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's like a tease, bro. Because like it's like you pull up to a pro stadium, you're like, oh, bro, this field is gonna be bomb. And then like you take a step and you're like, this is grass. No, what do you mean? I actually have to like, there's effort.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you marched the Stanford show, right?
Nope.
Oh, you
always wanted to, but I never did.
Yeah, no, because I marched there in 19 and 22, and in 22 we had to rehearse there. And honestly, like the grass in Stanford for me is like pretty sick. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Does the Rose Bowl got grass, or is that turf?
I think Rose Bowl is grass. Yeah.
I love the Rose Bowl stadium, dude. I finally got to do that in 2019, and that stadium is so sick, dude. I really do love how like the stadium, like the way the seating is. I just love how I think there's like the front row is literally on the field, like at field level. That front row is right there. It's not like a whole like wall and then a push up and then the front row. I love how it feels like when you're performing there, the crowd is like right there with you, like right in front of your face.
Yeah, it's also just like a cool stadium because it's like super wide. You know, like it's not like tall, but it's like really wide. Yeah, the only thing that sucks is I don't think there is numbers on the field, so. You know, at least in 19, that really, I don't know. In 19, we had a lot of stuff going against us, but the numbers were probably the least of our concerns. No, okay, but the second wall that I hit was actually the drive down here to Kansas. Our food truck broke down, and we had a surprise free day in Kansas City. I had no idea I would end up moving here. But I remember after they got the food truck back, we still didn't like get real food. It was kind of weird. I think we had like something for breakfast, and then instead of having a meal before the show, we had a pretzel.
Oh, sounds like the Oregon Crusaders.
we had like 45 minutes for like EPL, and then we like had this pretzel. It was like a decently sized pretzel, to be fair.
Hey,
so,
did you get cheese with it?
Yeah, we got like cheese. Hey. So like, you know, we were living the high life.
Living high life.
Yeah, or you know, or like the Arizona show, something happened with our uniforms, and we were like the only corps there that was just performing in our rehearsal clothes. You know, I don't. This isn't a time to go listing off all these things, I guess, but.
Oh my God, believe me, we've had 2 episodes, I think, already, which are just filled with like, oh man, what happened this season? What happened? Dude, why did we do all this?
I don't even want to get into the politics of what happened, because we got a new visual caption head mid-season.
Listen, let me get there. We're gonna get there. We're getting there. So something I want to talk about, something I want to ask. It's a fun question I've asked in the last couple episodes. But what's something you discovered about yourself in your rookie year?
Well, I guess I discovered a lot of things. I discovered that I could march and play at the same time, which is something that I thought was totally unattainable for me, which was pretty cool. The things I got out of my first season was I kind of realized I can pick things up somewhat quickly. I'm not like socially stunted because I have made friends. I was like, dude, I love my friends from the Troopers, honestly. They're great.
Hell yeah.
I think the work ethic that I got out of that first season was pretty crazy.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, even to this day, sometimes I still won't eat.
Like,
I mean, like, you know, it really taught me like a great work ethic, I think. I mean, that was like the biggest thing I got out of it. I think my whole practice routine now with the trumpet, I don't really do a lot of the stuff that we did in drum corps just because a lot of that technique is specifically for drum corps. But the actual, like, you know, scheduling and making sure that I'm doing things on time and like getting the work in that I need to do every day and like understanding that it's like a process. I think those are all great things that I got out of my rookie year.
Absolutely. Now, what's something from your rookie year, something happened and you were just like, okay, I'm not doing that again? Like, was there ever just a time where something happened and someone was like, dude, what are you doing? And you're just like, never do that again.
I mean, I was a huge tick box. So like, I think a lot of people didn't junior tech me or like even some of the techs. I think everyone could tell that I was just trying my best. Like I sucked, but I was like really
trying,
doing my best to like not suck. So, you know, I mean, like you only like miss a horn move once, really. Like there's things like that it's really like a one-time thing and then you're done with it because it's like pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. Something I learned right away is just like stop packing so much.
Oh,
like
yeah, definitely.
It's such a pain in the ass throughout tour. Like I came my first summer with 2 fat bags. Like I had a fat suitcase. I had a big duffel bag. I had my backpack that was stuffed to the brim. Every time I'm telling you guys, bro, y'all going out there this summer, pack light. Pack it like the necessities, the essentials only. Because, like, I swear to God, when you're pulling into somewhere at 3 or 4 in the morning and you got to take that off only to go in the gym to sleep for maybe 3 hours, and you're like, why do I have to carry all this stuff if I'm only dropping it on a floor and sleeping for 3 hours? Don't pack as much. Okay, you learn this as you go through. You think you need everything? You don't. You'll see some 6-year vet in there wearing the same tank top every day that he's worn since his first year. Just pack light. Pack light. That's my big thing that I was like, every year after this, I will never pack this heavy again.
Yeah, no, actually, that's a good point. I was kind of in the same boat. Clip that shit. That's a clip. Put that on Instagram. Clip that
clip. I think it'd be super funny if Eric right now, just as he was editing this, just like did it like, and then we just got to see Eric. We haven't seen Eric yet. We've seen Grant in a video.
Yeah,
love to see Eric in a video, dude. That's all I'm saying.
Shout out to Eric.
Shout out to Eric, dude.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. You really shouldn't have.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
What are some cool traditions that Troop gets to do? Maybe don't let us in all the way because tradition sometimes is secret, so don't let us in on everything, but give us some cool things that Troop does throughout a summer. Like obviously every group has like their tradition night where they go in, they talk about the core history. Like for Oregon, we'd always do a performance in Portland. We'd always do one downtown every single year. We get the free day to go and hang out in Portland. Stuff like that where you get to go, you get to do something extra, maybe not in terms of a performance, but you just get to do a little something extra that the core does every year.
Yeah, so I mean, my year with the Troopers, we did Beyond Boundaries. It was arguably, well, I'm not even going to say arguably, it was the least traditional year for the Troopers.
Yes.
But no, we got a lot. I mean, you know, being a trooper, you know, we got, you know, cross sabers 11. Unfortunately, because of the show, like we were trying to be modern, they got rid of the sunburst. So I never got to do a sunburst, which is literally the hypest thing of being like a trooper, is wearing the hat and doing the sunburst. And I didn't get to do it. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I'm a little upset.
I can't believe that. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Because I literally want to, like, I wanted to talk about that. Like, I wanted to talk about the importance of the sunburst. I wanted to talk about G Monticelli. I wanted to talk about the history behind it. Like, little side thing, since you brought that up, we have to talk about this because I can't believe you guys didn't. That is a staple.
Yeah, dude. It's like, you got to do it.
As a staple. As a staple in the history, dude. Respect the history, dude. I can't believe you guys didn't get to do that. Because, like, I mean, like, do you want to just break down what's so special about the sunburst since you got to march with the troopers?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so, like, I think I didn't really get it until, like, it was history night, and we literally just watched, like, a 5-minute long compilation of sunbursts. And every single time the sunburst happened, everyone just lost their minds. I was like, yes! Like, it's weird, but it's like super dope, you know. So honestly, I don't know much about the sunburst because I never got to do one. They never really talked about it.
Yeah.
I just know that it was like a thing in like every Troopers show, along with the cowboy hat, which also I didn't get to wear. You know, it's like,
and they literally brought him back in 22. Like, guys, what are we talking about?
well, I think, you know, there were some indicators that it would be a good idea to go back to the traditional model. You know, I'm not going to say what, but like, I'd say 2019 is a prime example of if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. How was that show broken down to you, by the way? Like, what was the whole breaking boundaries thing? Because you're changing the uniform, you don't do the sunburst. There's a lot of things that it seems like we are breaking the boundaries of, you know, the activity, what we're trying to do as an organization. How was that show broken down to you guys?
Yeah, so it's like the whole point of the show was like moving the troopers in a new direction, and they were going to do that through geometric shapes. So that's why like we did so many like triangles and squares and circles, and at one point we did the trumpets were like in a triangle and the baritones were like in a square, and like I'm making a circle while I do the square.
He's making a square.
No, dude, but like we kept playing like space music in the show, and we would like start making jokes like it's a space show. Like we had like I don't think we could afford the theme from Star Trek, but like it was in there. Like you go listen to it, it's in there. Like, and we kept making jokes about it. And the thing is, the staff started getting upset that we were making jokes about it being a space show until like it was like prelims day, and we were rehearsing one of the last sets in the show. Yeah. Which the new visual caption had called it a galaxy, and we all just like lost our minds. We were like, "Yeah, there's a space show!" You know? So that was like kind of the big thing. Is like, is it a space show or is it not? And I'm going to tell you right now, it 100% was a space show.
It was, and it is. It was.
It is, dude. It always will be. It's, dude, because like think about it. Space show about geometric shapes. Like which one are you more interested in? Like
going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Something I wanted to ask about, because in 2019, this is the year after famous drum major for the Troopers, Gabe Gallegos. Yeah. I think I said his last name right. This was the year after his age out, and he was a very big part to the culture at Troopers. I auditioned there in 2016, and at that point, he had like firmly established himself as like the leader and the culture setter for that organization. Was he ever talked about, or was stories of him ever talked about? Like, was there ever like, because I mean, they made a whole video on the Troopers YouTube that's like Gabe Gallegos, like age out, like battle him. So it's like, was that ever talked about with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about him. I don't think I've ever met him, because I don't think he was ever around for my year. I think he's on staff there now. I don't know. I'm not 100% certain though. But yeah, he's like a Troopers legend. Like everyone loves the guy. You know, I really want to meet him someday because he sounds awesome. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we talked about him, and like everyone was like, yeah, he's like the best. You know? And honestly, I feel like being the Troopers drum major is like so hype, because you get like the sword, you get the gun, you get the hat, you get to do the slow walk. I mean, it's badass.
The slowest walk. The slowest walk. And it has to be.
Do
they still do that?
I think they're back to it now, yeah. Because my C partner in 19 was a conductor, and then I think it's after our year in like 21 or something, he was the new head drum major. And I think I saw clips of him doing the slow walk, which shout out to Aaron, by the way. Aaron's the GOAT.
Shout out to Aaron, dude. Keep doing that. I don't think he's doing it anymore. I don't know. He's probably aged out by now. But hey, keep doing that. Keep doing that stuff. I like to see it. What'd you say?
Get on the field.
Get on the field.
Get out there, kid.
Get out there. What's some advice you could give to the young rookies out there that are coming up, that are afraid of what, you know, maybe not afraid, but just a little nervous about, you know, what it's going to be like on the other side of, you know, the little finals video they get to see?
Like just like general advice for them?
Yeah, just some general advice. I mean, you came in not knowing a whole lot about this activity. You were just like, I really think this thing is cool. I'm like hopping in. Like, so just for me, example, like I was super nervous going to auditions because I had known about this thing. I had done marching band. I had understand the pressure, like the coolness, I guess, that was around the activity. So there was added pressure on me from the outside that was like, oh man, like I gotta be so good. Like, what would you give? What advice would you give to the young people?
Yeah, so like specifically for auditioning, I think the thing is with auditions, it's like I would say it's not even necessarily a bad thing to be nervous. Like that's totally normal. As a matter of fact, I think it's a good thing because it shows that you care, that you're you're auditioning. And the thing is, like pretty much everyone on staff also marched, and so they 100% get what it's like to audition.
Yeah.
The way I approach every audition I do is like I work up the material up and to the point where like I know I have it down. Like there's nothing for me to worry about. I've done the work on my end. Mm-hmm. And I'm still nervous after that, but it definitely helps because when you show up, I think a lot of it too is just like how confident you are. For example, for my Bluecoats audition in 20, like I practiced that for like months before the audition every single day for like an hour at least. So when I showed up to the audition, I was nervous, but like I was also like confident, like
you've done the work. There's pressure because it's an audition, you're being judged, like all of these things. So there's that, but it's like when you've prepared so much that it's like you're undeniable to yourself. You're like, I know how hard I've worked for this thing. Let me just go get this thing now.
Yeah. And I mean, I also part of it is like you can really make the staff take you. I honestly think like if you put the work in and you have like the right mindset about it, you should be able to play on audition that doesn't even make it a choice for the staff. Like they're like, we have to take this guy,
Yep.
Otherwise I'm going to be freaking out at an audition if I have something like iffy. So like I need to get to that point before I can go into the audition.
Absolutely. Something else I wanted to ask about real quick, just bouncing off. We're just going all over the place today. But something I wanted to ask about, I talked about this, I think, in Dylan Ryder's episode, which if you haven't gone and checked that out, go check that out. It's an incredible episode. But something we talked about there, we were talking about like home shows and like our favorite like shows for like, home shows for corps and whatnot. But we talked about probably our least favorite one. Gotta be the Troopers home show, dude. I'm so sorry, but it is the worst home show. Like, if you are not, we have talked about this already. And for the people that are new here, first, welcome on. But two, we've talked about this before. I'll talk about it again. The Troopers home show is like, if you are not a member of the Troopers, like, don't even bother, dude. Like, it is not going to be a fun night for you guys. Like, no matter what, even if you have a fantastic run, you will go out there and you will get no response. You will get no reaction. You will get like no claps, no nothing. You will get a golf clap. You will get a nice job. Moving on. Like it is no way will you get a wow. But when the lights go down, dude, and the Troopers come out and they throw up a little 11, all bets are off. All bets are off. Talk about that a little bit.
When you were talking about the traditions at the Troopers, like, man, that home show is like seriously like nothing else. Like it is, It's a small stadium. It's nothing crazy, but it's like when you're a trooper in Casper, it's like that's
what's going on there that night. Like when you're at the Casper show,
dude, everyone in Casper is at the Casper show.
That is what's happening.
Show. Yeah, dude. Like I gotta say, like it. And back in 19, we were obviously ranked pretty low. So finally, it felt so good to go on after all these awesome. Not to say that we weren't awesome too, but. All these like drum corps that like are the model of what drum corps is.
The big boys, the big dogs,
the big dogs, and like getting the reaction we did going on after them, dude. It's awesome. Like pretty much,
we might be BD tonight. We might be BD.
I don't think BD pulled up to the Casper show in 19,
Damn.
And we didn't go in 22 either. So
lame.
Yeah, that was kind of such a bummer, to be honest.
Whack.
I wanted to experience the Casper show as not a trooper, but I never got to do that.
One thing though I will say is that in that fundraiser every year, dude, Battle of the West or Battle of the Mountain Valley or something. What is it?
The Rocky Mountain Rivalry.
I completely got it wrong, dude. I heard it for 4 years in a row, and I just fell over the whole thing. I would hear that. Weber State every year. You hear the Rocky Mountain Rivalry. Donate to these drum corps. If you see who you want to win, we'll find out. Every year, BK wins it by like 20,000. But in 2022, I will say, in 2022, I'm pretty sure Troop won. So
I don't know. I wasn't keeping up with it, but
I like to keep on it now that I'm a little BK alumni. I'm like, I want to see
the BK swag.
Who's got some deep pockets out here? Okay, let's see what you got, alumni.
Okay, open your hearts.
Open your pockets.
Open your wallet.
Give me all your money. Oh man. Hey, another question I got here, rounding us out for Troop. Did y'all get to go to the farm finals week?
Yeah, we were at the farm.
Yeah, I hear stories all the time because I was taught by Tim Snyder in 2017,
Yeah.
who obviously, taught at the Troopers, was brass caption head there for a little bit. And he used to talk about the farm, would tell some stories from time to time. So I always heard little stories about the farm. Was it a big deal or is it just the fact that Troop goes back there every year?
Okay, first of all, my year in 2019, Anthony Crudis was our brass caption head, not Tim Snyder.
Yeah.
Honestly, dude, like the farm, it's a farm. Like maybe I just didn't get it because a bunch of people were super hype about the farm, but
yeah,
you sleep in a barn. I mean, granted, it's a very nice barn. It's like insulated and has like concrete floors, and
it's like a barn dominium.
But it's like a barn dominium. Yeah. You sleep there, and the field it's just straight up an empty field. It's not a football field.
I just wish there was like cows like in a pasture right next to it.
There's a lot of corn around you all the time.
Nice.
Never eat raw corn, by the way. It's not good.
Yeah. Something, if you took anything away from this podcast today, it's just don't eat raw corn.
Don't eat raw corn.
Don't eat it.
But the farm's cool. It's like I don't know. We didn't really do anything crazy at the farm besides we ran a lot and actually we did run a lot of the farm.
I don't know. We just ran a lot. I just think that's just such like oh my God, that's so this is beautiful podcasting right now. Just so many laughs and just like, how's the farm? Can we talk about drum corps? Obviously, COVID ruins everything. COVID ruins the entire world. DCI was going to explode in 2020. It was going to be the best thing. We've talked about this with every guest who's come on because I think almost everybody was going to March in 2020, and I'm pretty sure everyone was going to get a ring in 2020. That's what
you weren't ready for anybody.
No, yeah, you were not ready for this in 2020. Okay, everyone was coming with the heat. Everyone was bringing the fire in 2020. But you were supposed to go to boats in 2020.
Yep.
That unfortunately did not happen because COVID ruined everything. So we move on to going into, this is like the fall of 2021. I guess the spring of 2021, I should say. I get a little call from Siegel High School from then director Alex White, who ended up leaving shortly after to go pursue other pastures, but gave me a little ring and was like, hey, heard about your name, man. Would you like to come teach with us? And I was like, because at the time, for the people who don't know, which actually no one knows, we're going to explain this right now. Austin Berry, who's already been on the podcast, and Nick were both teaching at Siegel High School in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Got the little call. It was like, would you like to come teach with us? And I was like, bro, I get to teach with my boys. Why would I not go do this? So I think me and you both went to that interview where like, it was like they're, trying to see who I was and all that. So we did that. We had a great little interview there. And then from there, they're like, yeah, we'd like to bring you on the visual staff. And then, Alex White decides to leave, go do his own thing. Cool. David Adlick comes in, steps in as band director. I love him so much. Shout out David. If you're watching, oh my God.
Dude, we both got to send this episode to David so he watches it, dude.
And he's going to be like, you guys are idiots.
So dumb. He's going to be like, you never marched in high school. That makes so much sense for how you teach.
It all makes sense now. I just it's so weird when you get hired by one guy and then a new boss comes in and you have to message him through Facebook and say, hey, like, promise I'm not lying, but the guy before you hired me to work here. Would you still like me to work here? And so, like, obviously had the home phone call. All things are great. But we end up teaching together at Siegel High School for the season. Austin taught with us for band camp. So we did the 2 weeks, me, Austin, you. And then for the season, it was just me and you holding it down for the Viz department. And let's just say it was an experience. I think, we thought we were going to get fired every single day.
Every day. I remember every day during a water break, we'd sit in my car and I'd be like, bro, I think I'm going to get fired.
Do you think today's the day?
Like, they're cutting us. We're cut. We're so cut.
We would drive over to rehearsals together all the time and be talking about like what we need to do or whatever. And then we would get there, we would do it. And then we'd be like, damn, did that go well? was that okay? Like, are we gonna, how did that rehearsal go? Like, bro, I barely even got to,
Dude, I remember like the post rehearsal David pep talks because he could see like we wanted to die, and he'd be like,
Yeah.
"Guys, it's going to be okay."
yeah, no, he'd be like, guys, it's gonna be okay. And then be like, all right, we're back in. And then we go way too hard. He'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, but no, what an experience that was. And honestly, thank you to David for like, allowing us to have that experience, because that was really, that was a blast. Him and Blake were both incredible people, incredible guys to work with. I had a blast getting to teach. That was my only season I got to teach, but it was a blast.
Dude, it was so much fun.
I remember it was funny because before the Contest of Champions show at MTSU, like, we're walking to the finals lot. Actually, no, we're not walking. We're running because we're like 2 minutes before we're supposed to lead a Viz warm up for the final show.
I remember.
And our school is in second place, by the way. Like, we have an opportunity to take home some hardware. And we're in the car and we're both like, warm up starts in 2 minutes. And we're in the parking garage and like just running, nice clothes and all, just like running to Viz warm up.
Dude, you know what happened is I think we went to Chili's.
Yeah.
We went to Chili's.
Yep. And then we came back and we were like, oh my God, we gotta go.
We're getting fired.
We're getting fired. I remember like we were done. We finished the Viz warm up and we're just like heavy breathing still. We're like, okay, we did it. We did it. And then like David was like, that was a nice job, guys. That was a really good job. And we're like, really? Like, yeah. He's like, yes, it was. It's been fine all year.
Dude, is like every time we'd lead a warm up, we would be like, shit. And then David would be like,
dude,
that was dope.
That was good. I don't know what you guys are doing great. It was fun though, man. It was fun. It was great. I want to get back to teaching towards the end, or maybe, seeing how long we go in this. Maybe I do save it because there will be a potential episode one day where either I come out to Kansas City or maybe it happens where you and Austin are here in Nashville somehow. But there will be an episode in person with me, Nick, and Austin, so that we can have our own episode to just talk about like the teaching life on the other side, maybe just some even more stories just about marching in general. But I think we definitely have to do that episode. So maybe we'll jump into that in this one. Maybe we'll save it for that live episode. Either way, we're going to talk about it. Moving forward, so we end the rookie season and trying this thing out for the first time and not really knowing much about it going in. What made you want to do it again after your first season?
Well, so like if I'm being completely honest, my plan the entire time was to march troopers for a year and then go to Bluecoats. And I think I would have straight up gotten crucified if I said that during my season with troopers. And I never, to be completely transparent, I never mentioned anything about it, really. I maybe said like one thing about it, like, oh, I want to march Bluecoats someday. Because they were, pretty strict about that. Like, we don't talk about other places here. That really healthy, like, mindset stuff that they preach to you over there. Yeah, no, I was just like, like that happened, all that stuff happened at the troopers, but like, it's the Bluecoats, so it's got to be better. And like the only issue was I finished my season with the troopers, and even though we had a switch, we had a new visual caption head about halfway through the season. Yeah. Who tried teaching a straight leg halfway through the season. Just for reference, by the way, halfway through the season, we got a new visual caption head. It's a mystery, but basically what happened was we went from bent leg, like hard dot, to like straight leg guiding now. And everyone was freaking out about it for no reason. Why were we freaking out? I don't know, because it's literally just like, do this instead. But
Nick wasn't even freaking out. He hadn't even marched before.
Dude, I was just like, okay, I guess I move my legs like this now. I didn't know. I don't know. I kind of had to teach myself how to march straight leg. That was part of my practice for the Bluecoats audition. Is there's a big empty parking lot by my house, and every day for like at least like an hour, I would go out there and I would do box drill. Starting at 60 BPM, I would record every single rep, bump it up like 5 clicks every time, and I would just watch myself, and then I would watch like the Bluecoats technique, and I would try to like mimic that. And then I had a friend who marched Blue Stars that I would send all of my clips to like every day, and he would critique me, and that's how I learned. And if I'm being real here, when I did my Bluecoats audition, I think I got like a not to flex here, but I got like a 9.5 out of 10 in video.
Whoa! Okay.
Self straight leg. So like,
I'm so sorry for the audio listeners.
Dude, it works. Like it just works. Seriously, just do box drill and then I did some jazz running, and then I went home. And every time I did box drill, it was always playing long tones. I would just play a concert F, box drill, and then that's.
Were you doing this just on your own to learn, or were these like assignments?
No, this was before I even made Blue Coats. I just really wanted to march Blue Coats, so I just did that.
Grind.
I mean, honestly, it was winter break, so like, what else was I going to do? Like,
right, get better.
Know. And then,
oh my god, I hate myself for saying that.
I was also like very fortunate. Like, I hit up Derek Gibson, who at the time was brass caption at Blue Coats, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll give you some video lessons." And he set me up for the brass stuff, and
that was super cool. I remember because I think that was like our freshman year of college, right?
Yeah, you actually walked in one of our lessons.
I remember I walked in on one of them, and I like walked in there. I was like, "Yeah, what up?" And you were like, I was just like, oh. On the outside, I was like, "Oh, that's Derek." But yeah, I think that's like, I mean, you were like auditioning and still getting to like, getting some tips, just getting some help. I think that's super clutch in itself right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Honestly, like I mean, on one hand, I do think I got a lot better at like jazz and like stuff like that over COVID because drum corps didn't happen that year. But I am a little bummed because like the show was pretty kick ass.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to keep this in the podcast or not, but I'm just going to let the public know the 2020 show was not the 2021 show. Like, they kept making like 30 seconds to a minute of the music that we were going to do in 2020 in that show. And then I won't say what, I guess, because it's still technically a secret as to what the 2020 show was, but they did later reuse part of our show music from 2020 in a later year's show as well.
What did they use?
I will say it was one of the years, but some year between 2020 and the present day, there was a certain closer that a drum corps that rhymes with Kuboats did that was originally going to be the opener in 2020.
Okay. Hey, official statement. You heard it here first.
Yeah, super vague. Definitely nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Moving on, after we teach together in 2021, we have a great season. We win so many visual awards. DCI calls us up, wants to know the secrets, wants to know what we were implementing in the visual program. We tell them it's a secret formula. You'll never know. You'll have to buy it off of us for $1 million. That's why we made the podcast. That's why we're doing this episode. Because we were so elite that season in the visual category. I mean, Dobbins Bennett was calling for us. Avon was calling for us. They're like, guys, can you please come help save the program? And we're like, not really for us. Not really for us. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I don't know. It was actually a really funny story, though. At the end of the Seagull season, like we were sitting there and it was the wrap up, like before, I think it was either like the final meeting or it was like the meeting before you guys went off for like the last BOA show. I didn't go to that last one, but it was funny because like whole band's together in the auditorium and then they break. And it was like the last meeting that we would all be together and like talking to the staff. And we both went up to David and Blake and we were just sitting there for a while because there was another guy who came in to help out. What was his name again?
Jordan Lalama.
Well, first off, shout out Jordan Lalama.
Dude, Jordan Lalama. If you're watching this, you're the best.
Shout out, honestly. He does, I think he still does choreography for Broken Arrow.
Yeah, he does. And he did our choreography too.
And then he did choreography for Seagull in 2021. But yeah, he does choreography for Broken Arrow, dude. And he is the real deal. No doubt about it. He is the real deal. But the other guy I was thinking about, do you remember the other guy who came in? I don't remember his name.
Cavaliers guy?
Yeah, Cavaliers guy. He also marched Crown.
Yeah. Oh, dude. He came in like the later years. It was the lonely years of me working there by myself.
Yeah.
I'm totally blanking on his name. Totally different approach to teaching than we had. But
I feel like it started with a B.
Is it Brad?
Brad. Dub. It was Brad. Shout out Brad. I don't remember your last name, but you did come help out, and you were a cool dude. I remember I had some conversations about some staff that taught me that marched with you. Good hang. Very, very cool guy. Jordan Lalama. Good guy.
Dude, band dad himself.
Band dad. Cool guy. Just like...
No. Chad with a CH, not band dad.
Oh, you're not a band dad. You're a band Chad. You're a band daddy, dude.
He would pull up in those like tank tops and like the 5-inch
October. It's cold. We're in long sleeves, the whole 9 years. He's like, and he was ripped. He's ripped, like jacked for no reason, doing like choreography for band.
He had the stance too. And he'd have like the fly Nikes on, and he'd be like, yeah.
Most swagged out guy I've ever seen teach band in my life. And I was just like, I aspire to be like you one day, my man. But as we move through that, and, you know, they're like, you know, you guys can teach again, I guess. We move on through the season, and your DCI future is kind of up in the air as to what you're going to do. You're kind of like, I might go, but I might not. But I might go to this camp. I might go, or I might send a video in. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. And you just kept playing that for like months. And I was like, so what are you going to do? And you're like, probably not going to do it. And that was like February. You're like, probably not going to do it, actually. I don't think I'm going to do it anymore. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, I don't even think I want to do it. And then it was like March or April. Even it was like April. And you were like, there's some open spots I see. So I might send a video. And I was like, you are? And he's like, I might. And then it was like May, and you were like, yeah, probably not. Probably not. And then May turns into June. You know, we go away for the summer. I go back home, and, you know, I'm back in Missouri, so I'm seeing all my people there, and you know, we don't talk a lot. But then, like, all of a sudden, one day, I get a Snapchat from you, and it's just like the top of the bus, and you're tan, and you're with other people going down the road. And I'm like, you did it, didn't you? I'm like, I knew exactly you did it. And then I looked at Snapchat, and I was in a private story with the little devil emoji. I was like, God damn, dude, he did it. So you end up going to Blue Devils in 2022. Talk to us a little bit about how that opportunity came to you.
Yeah, so actually, I'm about to reveal a secret to you too, Jeffrey. This is actually a secret for the entire world. I have not told a soul this because it was quite embarrassing.
Official statement.
Official statement. In 2022, I had every intention of marching the whole time. The problem is, like, I was super busy with school, so I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for the audition. And to be honest, I kind of half-assed it. And I actually got cut from Bluecoats in 22. Yeah.
Wait, so you went and auditioned and the whole thing?
Yeah, I auditioned. Well, the thing is, I never went in person because for one of them, I was sick, and the other one, I was traveling, so I couldn't make the camp. And so that was probably part of why I got cut, even because, I mean, I was technically a vet, even though, like, I never marched. I mean, I got my, like, shoelace over there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I straight up got cut from Bluecoats in 22, and that's when I was like, it was too much for me to stomach. So, like, on the outside, I was like, I just don't want to do it. But in reality, I did want to do it. I just wasn't good enough.
I'm gonna find a way to do it.
And so what happened was, I saw, like, on social media that Blue Devils had a hole and they needed it filled. And so I was like, I saw it and I was like, maybe I'll do it, but probably not, because I mean, I got cut from Bluecoats. So it's like the odds of making another drum corps of like that caliber is like slim, until Austin actually kind of got the whole ball rolling, because Austin was going to march BD in 20, and so he knows Chip Krotz, the brass caption head there, and he gave Chip my number. So I get a text message from Chip Krotz being like, "Hey, I heard from Austin that you're available to audition. Do you want to?" And actually, the first time he messaged me, I said no, because I was at the beach with my family, Daytona Beach, and I was like, dude, I'm living life. I'm in a condo. There's no way I can make it. I can make the audition. And then Austin FaceTimes me and he's like, dude, you have to do it right now. Because what happened was, I had clips of like Bluecoats visual assignments from back in 2020. And I should have known, because there was one night still in Tennessee where I got a message from another BD alum. Yeah. In 19, like, hey, send me those clips of you marching. And Austin was always talking about me, filling this spot at BD. So I should have like kind of caught on to it, but I never did. And that's why he messaged me, is because he saw my clips from 20. And so then eventually I was like, it was like 11. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to record the videos. So I find it was like 1 a.m. I get the list from Chip of like what they want visually, and he sends me what they want music.
Are you still in Daytona Beach at this point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No way.
That night, I go to a parking lot at 1 a.m. I record my visual audition. Just like, it was like a Publix parking lot. All the homeless people looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm marching and playing at like 1 a.m.
Like, okay, and
then the next morning I record the music. I think I played, for my lyrical, I did some trumpet concerto, and then for my technical, I did this Freddie Hubbard transcription that I was working on. Mm-hmm. I sent it to Chip, And he's like, you're in, because initially because what happened was they didn't take any alternates. And then one person dropped in spring training, and then 2 other people got injured. So they needed people. And then they also wanted to take alternates. So by the time that I submitted my audition, they had already found someone to fill the spot. But fortunately, they were like, but you know what? We'll take an alternate because we saw what happened in spring training and we want one just in case.
Yeah.
I show up and I got the alternate spot. So but I was like, it's an alternate with the Blue Devils. So how can I say no? Plus I got massively reduced tour fees, and it was just an opportunity that was too good to pass up. And so it's 2 days before my birthday, June 26th, the day of the Rose Bowl show in 22, I pull up. Actually, in the footage of the BD Rose Bowl show, I can see myself on the sideline, just so green, with my backpack, wearing my recycling shirt. And because the thing is, so many blue coats from 20 in the trumpet section ended up being 22 at BD.
Oh, damn.
So they already knew me, and they thought I was part of the media team. I just pulled up.
Dude.
The next day when I was at rehearsal, everyone was so happy to see me, and it was such a great introduction to the Blue Devils. I was like, I already know people. It's
hell yeah.
I literally skipped all of spring training.
I didn't have to do any of the hard, but I'm just right into the best part,
dude. And someone got injured, and so there was a spot open on the field. I learned the show. The way BD teaches makes it super easy to pick up shows.
Right.
I learned the whole thing in 3 days. It took me longer to learn the music. And then they put me in a show about 2 weeks after I got there.
Yeah. So you were alternate at first. How long did it take you to get on the field, officially?
Well, so actually right when I got there is when I got on the field, because the person got injured right as I got there.
Okay.
But then she recovered, and so she was put back on the field, and then was out again until the day of San Antonio. Someone got injured again, and so I got put back in.
Absolutely.
There's infamous action shots of me not doing the correct horn angle in San Antonio. There's literally every trumpet in this pod is pointed at the box, and I'm just over here. But hey, I did it. I marched San Antonio with the Blue Devils. It was surreal, dude. It was, but honestly, the whole experience of being at the Blue Devils was so similar to my rookie year because it was all so new. The way BD does things is so different from anywhere else.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that entirely. I guess they would always tell us marching here is 90% drum corps, 10% Blue Devils. It's for the most part it is regular drum corps, but just with some different stuff.
We have our own things. Yeah.
No, it was awesome. It was great.
Yeah. Real quick here, instead of getting a spring training or a preseason to really get into all of that and how they do things, how was that for you hopping right in at the beginning of tour? Because it's once you hit tour, the rehearsals start to get, less and less time for each single rehearsal. So it's how do you how are you handling all of this mentally? Because it's you're coming from nothing to hopping into tour. And now you have to learn the show, the music, all of these different things. How do you handle all of that?
I knew coming in as an alternate, I was definitely kind of in the same boat as troopers where I was the worst person on the field. I don't know if that ever really changed, to be honest, but it don't matter. It don't matter. No, I don't know. I honestly, I just tried my best. I got there.
Yeah.
Because the other guy who filled the spot that was originally put out for, I asked him for advice. Shout out to Aaron. Different Aaron than my previous Aaron, my old C partner. But he told me, jump into the reps before you think you're ready. And so literally I got there first rehearsal. I saw my spot. I watched it for one rep, and then I hopped in, and I just did it. And
just try it.
Pretty much at the end of the day, the full runs, I would be in every single part of the show that I knew, and then I would find spots in the field that I could run off to the sideline. On water breaks, at BD we get awesome water breaks. So
30-minute water breaks.
But, it's pretty awesome. I would basically be repping the choreography that I needed to know with people. Fortunately, everyone's super down to help over there. It's we had our troubles, but it's it was a good vibe overall, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone goes through a little struggle throughout tour, especially, when you're around the same thing, doing the same thing every single day, 24 hours a day. At some point, you're just going to,
Yeah, but I don't know. I just picked it up pretty quickly. I don't think I ever stopped ticking, but I definitely grew a lot, which is kind of what counts.
Yeah.
When I got taken out of the show, I brought a practice mule with me because I knew I was going to be an alternate. And so what I would do is on the sideline for every single rehearsal, I would just do the rep in place every single time, including the full run. I would look like a total dumbass. Just being there on the side of the field, doing all the choreography, doing all of like my step outs, and like on because I had my practice mute, so I could actually play the music.
Right.
I would ask people for advice. I would watch the shows. Like I would find recordings and I would like follow where
Your
my
dot
was. Again, like I was 100% focused on like
yes,
had it down.
Oh my God. Like this is more than like people who get contracted do. I'm just telling you right now. Like it might be a shade to some people who don't do their homework, but it's just like, at least in the years I marched, it was like that 5% of the people who would just like go over the top and go beyond what they had to do. I mean, even with all my years, I don't think I could just hop into BD right at the beginning of tour and be like mentally just like, okay, hopping into the show, big show, like, you know what I'm saying? Like big expectations, like all of these things. I think also the way that their culture is about how, and it's funny because after that summer, when you came back, skipping back and forth here, but at the end of the summer, I kind of just talked to you. I was like, you know, what was the culture like? How was everything? And the way that they kind of build their seasons, it really is like a building blocks type of thing, like everybody else, where it's not like, yes, we are the Blue Devils, so we're just going to win and that's what we do. It's like we're still building the show like everybody else, and we're building for finals day. So I think that's just something that I don't think people necessarily recognize about the Blue Devils.
Yeah, and I mean, I think one of the key components, people like make fun of BD a lot, like calling us like the Princess Corps, or like, you know, like we don't work hard, but we actually do work like pretty hard. It's just like the staff, I think part of the success of the Blue Devils comes from the staff treating us as people and not just members.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Like your health is first and foremost at BD. Like for example, I showed up into the season and I was really out of shape, so I actually did get injured and I just like marched through the injuries. Because I wasn't prepared, but they take good care of you there. And like the thing is, like there's never any like vibe of like if you're not good enough, an alternate's getting your spot. Like the only way an alternate gets a spot on the field at BD is if someone gets injured. It's like once you're there, you're there. So it's like there's never any like bad vibes coming from the staff.
Absolutely.
And all the rehearsals are framed so efficiently. Of course, the members also have to like know how to flip the switch of like on a break to like being like locked in, you know, because it's like. And we struggle with that, honestly, like in 22, like a good bit of just like not being able to focus in fast enough in rehearsals.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the big thing at Blue Devils is just like they treat us like human beings, and they know that we need sleep, water, and food. And that's always there. Like it's never going to go away. Like we showed up to a housing site, our bus broke down, and we had to like hop on other people's buses. And we didn't start rehearsal that day until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, just because they wanted us to get enough sleep. You know what I mean? It's like things like that make a difference. Like,
yes,
there's a difference between working hard and working smart, right?
Yes.
Eventually, you got to know when you're just beating your head into a wall. Like,
right. Because I think there really is this, like, there is such a thing as just like rehearsing too much, maybe, you know, like really overworking your members, really, like you said, just like hitting yourself in the head over and over again. It's kind of just like, okay, like, I mean, for example, in 2018, we had our long drive from Denver to Kansas and we ended up in Odessa, Missouri. We pulled up to the housing site and they were, I mean, field lining crew didn't even get to sleep. Like it was like field lining's got to go line the field right now, because the Corps is getting 45 minutes of sleep and waking up, and we're going to do 2 blocks. And because like we need to get ready for the show. It sounds so crazy because it's like food, water, sleep, you know, it's all going to be there. And for outside people who might not know much about the activity, they're like, why wouldn't it be there? And it's like, right?
It's just like, yeah, you got to know when enough is enough.
Yeah. Who was a staff member that you learned a lot from in that summer? Because there's so many like incredible, knowledgeable people on that Blue Devil staff.
I mean, that's like also 100% like the staff carries the Blue Devils, dude. Like, I mean, you know, we all show up and it's like, I mean, we made the Blue Devils, so we're like, okay. But the staff, just like the way they work together, they've been together for so long, especially the visual staff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost like magic, you know, it's really crazy. Yes. But like, you know, like having Todd Ryan, you know, on like one of the visual, or Jamie Hawley, or like, you know, any of the techs, or yeah, it's pretty great. I don't know. I learned a lot from all of them, honestly. Like observing how they taught really influenced my teaching a lot, because it's very much like, it's very objective. It's very like to the point, we're going to get it. And they explain very clearly and concisely. And the thing is, they never get mad if you screw up because they know that's part of the process of learning.
Yeah.
They're very patient. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's also like we talked about in Joey's episode a little bit too, kind of like we're talking about here, but just like I think something that helps so much is the fact that the staff instilling confidence into the members like consistently, just like giving them that trust that it's like, yes, we know that you guys are good enough to do this the first time every single time. And I think instilling that confidence in the members and being like, yes, you are good enough to be here, like, yes, you are good enough to do it the first time every single time, makes the members believe when you hear that over and over again that yes, I am the best and I will do it the first time every time.
Yeah, I mean that's like part of the mentality as a Blue Devil too, is like when everyone gets to the Blue Devils, there's like a huge amount of imposter syndrome because you're now a member of this drum corps that has such a crazy history.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to live up to that, but something that they always reminded us of is like we're the Blue Devils like this year, like
yes,
we're not the Blue Devils like in 2019 or any other year. This is like the 2022 Blue Devils. And it's like they always reassured us that like, because they could see it in us that like we have like self-doubt, and it's like, guys, like it's okay. And also another thing that I really like is like they're very goal oriented. So it's like,
right.
And the way Blue Devil shows are designed, like beyond like the actual show, like Scott Chandler's obviously a genius. The way that they're like designed to like actually be achieved is great because they're never meant to be like super clean on day one or like by San Antonio or super clean by Atlanta. It's meant to be like ready by finals. Like finals will be your best show, which actually I think semifinals was our best show, but no, but like it's like they said something to us right before we walked out on the field at finals that was like, we didn't pick you guys when you were auditioning because you were the best that day. We picked you because you knew you would be the best today.
Fire.
So quote. Yeah, dude. Pat Seidling, goated corps director, dude. He's like one of my favorite people.
Goated guy. Let's get into the show a little bit. How do you remember this show being described to you? It's called Tempus Blue. What's like, there's so many different musical selections in this as well. So many different just expressions in general. How is this show described to you guys? Yeah,
so I was never actually there for when the show was fully explained. So I just had to piece it together from like all the BD 360 stuff that was put out or like asking other members. But essentially, it's like a history of the color blue in a show. And it's basically taking music in the style of the time periods that we wanted to reflect like the color blue, like whether the significance of that color in each of those eras, and ultimately turn it into like a show that's like fun to watch. People complain a lot about like Blue Devil shows being boring or never making sense, but I don't think that's the case. I just think like there's a lot of depth to Blue Devil shows. It's like they're very well thought out, and there's like I'm sure like I don't know about that was in the show that was like something, but you know everything in the show is like significant, and it's like that's really cool to me.
Absolutely. Something I want to talk about in that show, the famous, like, it still gets like put out today. It still gets posted from time to time. Like BD will post it, or like Flow Marching or somebody will post it. But like, I guess you would call it like a tower set or a pinwheel set.
The pinwheel, yeah.
The pinwheel set. Okay, cool. I had that down. Just wanted to make sure. But how many times? Because that is like, isn't that like a really famous like pinwheel set within like BD? Isn't that like something that they did like in 2014, 2015, something like that? Like,
that's like a good question. I'm actually not too hip to like Blue Devil history, just because
I got you.
Yeah, well, I mean, having like someone like Todd Ryan who's so like deep in the history of this activity,
right?
Like I just thought like that might have been like my favorite set from the show. I don't know if it was my favorite. It was up there though. Just like transitioning. So like, because the thing is, that's like a perfect example of what I was talking about of how like it's going to be clean by finals because it's so hard.
Yeah.
Because everyone has different step sizes, right? There's an accelerando happening while it's going. No one can really see a drum major the entire time that it's happening.
Yep.
And if anyone's feet are even slightly out of time, it's so obvious. If anyone's out of line, it's so obvious. It's such an exposed moment. But everyone knew it was going to be so badass when we finally got it. Man, that set was so hype. And then after the Achel, like transitioning from like that really old school like marching thing to like a more thing where we break out into that thing, and then there's Tank, and it's like all cool.
Yes,
it's like such a hype part of the show.
Oh yeah. How long did it take until like the staff was just like, okay, that was the one, that was it?
Well, we repped it pretty much every day, I think.
Yeah.
I think there was ever, I mean, I can't remember exactly, but I do remember that set being very prevalent in our rehearsals. There were like a couple of those throughout the show that a lot of tape on the field, a lot of tape. Because, we also don't have dots. So it's like,
right.
I mean, we have like maybe like 1 or 2 dots, but
like hard dots. The rest is just like creating picture.
Because it's like sometimes we do just make like a square, and it's like the square has to be a square. It can't not be a square.
And you talked about Tank. In there. How did that feel to play Tank from Cowboy Bebop?
Oh,
that's
dude.
One of my favorite animes I've ever watched. So how was that for you?
Man, it was fun. Like we got to do shakes, which is something I never thought I'd get to do in drum corps. Like the shake in there, the triple tonguing feature or I guess it was the double tonguing feature we did that was like absurdly fast. And
yes,
they actually told us like there was talks about like making it easier, but then they were like, nah, they can do it, and then we eventually got it. Yeah, no, Tank is so much fun because especially the crowd, like they always loved that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of one of my favorite parts about marching the Blue Devils is like it's so much about like the individual. Like obviously you're coming together as like a group to create this product, but they want you to perform as an individual. Like they want to see your personality in the show, and there's so many moments where it's like they don't write anything for you. You like improvise some choreography during the show.
Yes,
like, from your personality. Or like big thing is like making eye contact with the audience, like really project. Yeah, like I love that stuff. Like that was the most fun part, is like getting to be me on the field.
Yeah. And I think that's what goes into, like, we've talked about this. Like we talked about this in Joey's episode, we talked about this in Keith Ty's episode, but we talked about like what is it? What is the thing that makes them it feels like the Blue Devils always just move just so different than everybody. They move so like larger than life. And I feel like you're hitting on like what I've been trying to like talk about, because I remember you talked to me about it, like what they were really preaching to you guys about how you move visually and how to like, move your body in a way that connects with the audience. And I think that right there, what you're talking about, I mean, keep going into that, man, because that is truly, I think that's the key to why like the Blue Devils just move different than everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, I think like having, people like make fun of BD for having like scatter drill and like, having all this stuff that kind of chaos on the field, but it comes together. No, we had like, blocks where it was just us and Scott Chandler, and he would basically teach us how to improvise choreography. And it was really great because it just, it really got you in touch with like how to move every part of your body. And I think one of the reasons that the Blue Devils move the specific way that they do is because a lot of the visual blocks are mixed with the color guard. So, yeah. And like that's part of how like the opening set in 2022 is a choreography thing, which is both like horn line, battery, and color guard all doing the same thing. And even within that, it's like that choreography, it was defined, but there were like little tiny moments where everyone could do their own thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
that's cool.
Like there was one part where it was like, like 30 something counts to get from here to here. And in the meantime, do something that looks cool, like something that reflects the emotion of the music that you're feeling. Mm-hmm. And then I think halfway through the season, we added like a hard set where we were all going to do this one thing, but it's like that, or like, they give you the time to be you on the field. Because at the end of the day, like you're the one performing the show. So I think it's really cool that the people who get to perform the show get to write part of it, Yes.
And get to be individuals. And it's not just like, I have all the answers in front of my face. Okay, here's what I'm supposed to do. I'm a robot. Here we go. I feel like you guys really get to be like a human yourself. I am getting to be creative, expressive, and I'm also doing my job.
Yeah. And I mean, like the way that they teach you the drill is so cool because it's like, I don't know, everyone's just experimenting. It's like, okay, you guys here, you guys are going to be like 2 steps apart, make this line and then follow the leader here, land here. And then there'll be like someone in the box and they'll be like, yes or no, or like try this. And that's also part of why it's so fluid, is because it's not made in like pieware. It's made like live, Yeah.
It's like, we're going to see it in context so we can understand if this is going to work or not. Yeah, I really enjoy that, man. And it's like we got a little bit of that at BK. Like it was mainly our opener was like that was like the one where we got a little bit of that BD learning because we had staff who came from BD in 2017. I think they were there They came over and taught us in 2019. And for that opener, it was like we had like 3 hard dots, but like the 2.5 minutes of that opening production, it's all just like choreographed. Let's try this. We have these 3 pods. We need you to get here by about this count. We're going to try this, and we're going to need you to flutter over here. And then this is going to be your first hard dot. And then we're going to have you do something else. And then here's this. I really liked doing that because while it seems like, how can you not enjoy that? Because like for once, instead of just like reading the card and just doing the same thing and learning the drill and doing the music and putting it with the feet, you're getting an opportunity to experiment and actually like really be engaged with like your brain and what you're doing. And I feel like that is a more like enjoyable learning experience for like drill, honestly. And it is hard though. It does take a lot of maturity, a lot of focus. It's fun, but if like everyone's having like way too much fun, then obviously, you're not learning. But I think, and it allows for creativity, allows for different stuff to happen. I kind of want to screen share for a little bit because I just want to like kind of want to watch like just a little bit of the ballad low key.
While you're pulling that up, I have a funny story about Jamie Hawley.
Go ahead. Yeah,
to give you a sneak peek into like the creative process of Jamie Hawley. I went to the bathroom during a brass block, and Jamie was sitting crisscross applesauce with his laptop on a call, like just outside the bathroom. So I heard one sentence of what he said. And he was like on like some call talking about the drill and like, I don't even know if it was our show, it was some show, but it's so funny because the way his mind works, he said something like, okay, what if we took like the giant meatball set and turned it into like a banana looking thing? And I was like, yep, that's the visual award right there. That's
our guy.
Like it's kind of like a thing in the past like decade or so where BD has like in the ballad the entire horn line in a circle in the bottom right of the field. It's like I'm gonna be honest, dude. It's in like almost every show of the last decade.
Really?
It's pretty prevalent. It's like a thing.
Wow.
I don't know how it ends up. It's always like in some bottom corner. In this show, I don't know if this is meta or not. This is like it's not confirmed, but this is my theory.
Okay.
So there's the set where there's like the low brass and they're coming down like the center of the field. That's the river. And then the high brass is in a circle, which is the moon. And then we do this weird like flowy thing into like right here into like another circle. So it's like a moon river, right? It's like a literal moon river.
There's Nick.
There's me. And that's GE. That's how you get GE.
And that's hella GE right there.
You got moons and you got rivers. That's all you need.
Call it Moon River. We're getting there, but we have to hear this part right here. I just wanted to play this. Wait, bro. Okay, wait a minute, bro. Hannah Cussin. Shout out Hannah Cussin, dude. Shout out Hannah Cussin. Right there. She's right there. Shout out Hannah Cussin. She's right there. She's incredible. Shout out to Alex Blue. He's right there looking like he's about to cry. I saw him in 23. Did not say hello.
Let's go.
Because he only taught me in 2016. Yeah, so I mean, he's taught a million people, seen a million people. How many like, hey, you taught me in 2016? But what is this guy doing right here, by the way? He sees the camera and it's like, no, bro, it's about the kids. All right, but like, we need to go back and listen to that again. You just need to listen to this note one more time. I'm being such a shithead right now. I just love this moment. Oh, that's so good. It's so good. That's it. That's all I wanted to share the screen for, honestly. That's it. So we're heading back in. Yeah, dude. That is a beautiful ballad. I love Moon River. That's like one of my favorite songs. So when I heard you guys play it, I was just like tears in my eyes every time. But also, I just wanted to hear that trumpet stack because that's just. So finals week for BD in Indy. Talked about it in Joey's episode a little bit. It just seems like there's like a finals week magic with BD. You know what I'm saying? It feels different when you hit Indianapolis. You get to be in the Colts practice facility. Talk about what a finals week with the Blue Devils is like.
That's great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's like, we get to stay in a hotel and like, I think every day, if I remember correctly, we got to sleep until like 10. or something like that. So it's like we'd always get sleep. We'd get to rehearse. I mean, there's no AC in the Colts facility, but it's still inside. So that means even if it's raining, like there's no issues with rehearsal. Yeah, it's just finals week with the Blue Devils is like, it's pretty magical because it's like everyone's on their A game. We know the show. We're getting down to like literally the finest details.
Yeah.
I think we added like one thing, but beyond that, it was just like the grind.
Mastering the craft.
Pretty much, but it's also like such a hang, like because at the same time, it's like, wow, we're in the Colts facility. This is pretty cool.
Pretty insane, and like how that whole scaffolding works.
Yeah,
with how like that is just, it's so different. If you, for example, if you guys go watch Joey Teixeira's head cam, Joey's gonna love that I just plugged him there. But it's really cool if you go watch his head cam and you watch like how many staff members like sit on this like windy staircase of scaffolding.
Because everyone's there. All the staff in the season's there for finals week. Yeah, I mean, it's just like they know not to overwork us, which is great because it's like they know like when enough is enough. And it's like, I mean, at that point, we're just like trying to be consistent. Just
rocking out. And then y'all go on that week to win DCI in 2022. Beautiful show. I'm crying the whole time. I'm like, Nick, he won. He did it. He did it. What was that feeling like for you winning when there's been so many obstacles in your way? It's just been such a weird story in your marching career. What did that feel like for you?
Man, honestly, it didn't really like fully set in until after the season. In the moment, I was just like so hype. I was like, dude, I cannot believe this right now. Like just like freaking out. I was like, we were undefeated that season, but the whole time we were always like, is Boston going to catch up? You know, it's like we were always like paying really close attention to like where we were. But at the same time, it's kind of like they were always telling us like scores don't really matter till finals. You know, it's like,
right.
So no matter what, even though like whatever, it's kind of like, again, the whole like goal oriented thing where it's like we have this goal that is like to be the best we can possibly be on finals. Yeah. And like that's what we're working towards the whole season. The rest of the show, they're just like shows, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Pat noticed that we really all just loved performing. So like California tour, for example, like that's like the baby days of being a Blue Devil is like, because you're in California, everyone still loves you. You're not out in the country where like people may not feel the same way. I was losing my mind, dude. I was like, I can't believe I did this. You know, I was really thinking like, man, I'd never in a million years when I first saw DCI as a middle schooler, did I ever think I would win, let alone like even be a part of the Blue Devils. The biggest thing for me was just being at the Blue Devils. I think that was the biggest shock for me is like every day I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Like, I don't know. But like, yeah, it's great. I think like winning was kind of like the cherry on top to the whole thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Throughout that season in 22, I mean, short, but there's a lot of stress that can come with, you know, being an alternate, being off the field, wondering if you're going to get on the field, still like working hard every single day. And then you get to the end and you win, you're on the field. Who was someone, or maybe even a group of people that maybe like helped you through that summer and just getting through it all?
Yeah. I mean, there was like both staff and members that were like, really helping me along the way. Like, you know, obviously all of the staff taught me, but there was maybe like a handful that would like actually talk to me one-on-one as a person.
Yeah.
There was one guy, Clark. Shout out to Clark.
Shout out Clark.
When I first got there and we were like in Camarillo, obviously I was struggling. So like he would give me like a little pep talk every morning during our stretch, which also big shout out to BD for giving us like an hour-long stretch. I wholeheartedly believe that's the only reason I'm still walking today.
Amen.
We'd get like an hour to stretch and like do yoga and stuff. And it's like, because I like straight up, like, I think I tore like some, like, or not tore, but like I pulled some muscles about like literally like a month and a half out from the end of the season. And I was like, okay, I have the spot for sure now. I cannot give it up. So I like tried to like push through it. I think it was about like a week before finals when it really started getting bad and I like was really freaking out about it. But I think kind of like with most things, I'm my own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Even though like I had all this support from like members and staff of like really wanting to see me do well, in my head I was really dealing with like a lot of like imposter syndrome and like wanting to feel like I belonged there, which the only thing that was really stopping me from believing that I belonged there was myself, which
Right.
kind of sounds cliche, but it's like, it's so true.
It is the mental battle with yourself, though. It really is just like fighting yourself and fighting that own imposter syndrome and just getting over it.
That was just like the hardest part of the season for me. I feel like I honestly never really got over it, even after we won. Just like the feeling of like, did I really deserve that? You know, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, we did it.
You earned it. You got out there. You won a little ring.
Maybe 160 something other people that were there. We pulled through.
Absolutely. Rounding out where we are now, what do you think about the state of drum corps right now? We ask every guest this at the end of the show. We being me.
Well, complete transparency. I haven't seen the whole episode with the new CEO, which I'm super excited about. I think
go do that right now. No, I'm kidding. What?
I think having someone with like an actual like fundraising background who has like been in other parts of like fundraising for like pretty huge like organizations and like had success with that is a really great omen for drum corps, because I think the main problem everyone has is that it's like ridiculously expensive to march.
Yes.
Even like the Blue Devils that used to have like some of the cheapest tour fees, like that's going up considerably.
Yeah.
And so it's like we got to find a way to make it more sustainable.
Yes.
And then also, this is a little unhinged, but people got to stop touching children. Like we got to cut that out. Like
that's real.
Like
it's a very simple thing, very simple rule. It's just like, don't touch the kids, don't touch the money. It's something you learn when you become a teacher, but it really is just that simple. It's just like keep your hands to yourself, please, when you're out there. It's something that, it might be an uncomfortable conversation. People listening might be like, oh, but seriously, you know what I'm saying? It's just, there's been so many stories about that.
Here's the thing is like for DCI to get like an actual like interest from the public, it would have to be like I would say have to be like almost entirely good, And I'm saying right now it's not mostly good, but like it still has its problems, like I'd say, members are obviously being treated better now than ever, but still at the same time, it's like we still have so much work to do because we still have like places that aren't letting kids sleep. They're not letting kids eat. They're not letting kids drink water. I would say like borderline, like mental abuse happens at some places.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Like, those are all things that members are going to tell the world about. And it's like the only way that's going to change is like a serious change in mentality from staff. And then once that gets fixed, it's like, okay, so we got the members on board. We got to start getting good publicity instead of literally the only times drum corps being in the news is when there's like some legal allegations happening.
A legal allegation, someone folds, or like it's all negative press. That's the only thing we ever see.
And then once we get those ducks in order, assuming we make it long enough, we got someone who's in charge now who like has like shown that they can do the job of like
all business, no fluff. All business, no fluff, man. That is really the vibes I got from that interview. It's right down to the point, goal oriented, ready to like really immerse himself fully into this activity. He doesn't have the band background, but like he wants to understand. He wants to know about the activity. But most importantly, our big picture problem is like the financial side of things and making it accessible to kids coming up in the activity and making sure that bringing in outside sources of revenue so that this, we can eventually stabilize member fees because it's just going insane right now. So how can we figure out to make it accessible for all kids in all financial classes? So I think having that, someone who's all business, no fluff. After that interview, it gave me so much hope in the future of the activity, knowing that we have the person we have leading us moving forward as the CEO of this activity.
That's like so true though. It's like, that's exactly what we need. And it's like one day it won't cost like $6 or $7 grand at some drum corps to march there, and then not only will that like help members financially, but I think a lot of kids who wouldn't have the opportunity, who are more than talented enough to march at places but can't do it because of the financial reasons, will get out there and the activity is only going to get way better.
Yep, because they'll have kids that like really, really fight to get there. Honestly, not saying that everybody doesn't, but I'm just saying there's some poor kids out there. And I mean, I was very fortunate. I mean, it's crazy to think that my rookie year, me and my brother both marched and my parents paid for both of us to go. We're very fortunate, very thankful, very fortunate. They didn't eat all summer. I'll have them on the podcast at some point and they'll be like, we ate hot dogs, hamburgers all summer. That's not how my parents sound. Dude, come on.
We got to do the bid.
We got to do the bid now.
I'll tell you about the money. Okay, I'm glad we got this new guy. I got some boys on Wall Street. Really, hey, listen, take it to the next level. Hey, we really
I
enjoy.
really like what I'm seeing, kid.
Yeah, hey, kid, you sound pretty good. You ever think about going pro? You ever think about going pro, kid?
My people will be in contact.
Hey, people will be in touch. I think you should be really happy with how things went today. Hey, this is my favorite podcast I've ever been on. I'm gonna make sure everyone I know knows about that. Okay.
Everybody's gonna know. But I mean, seriously, I mean, like, you take the fees of me and my brother's tour fees and you put that together, and that's the cost of one. That's the cost of one kid today. Like, both of us together is one kid today. That's insanity. We marched 2 different corps, Boston and Oregon, and that's the cost of one person marching today. That's just like, it's insanity. It's crazy. I don't know. You got anything else on that?
I don't know. It'd be cool to see it like in the public eye more. But
Yeah, no,
like,
absolutely.
all that other stuff has to happen before anyone like really takes it seriously. Because then once the activity is actually healthy, we got to get over another boundary of like people thinking marching band is lame. You know,
Right.
It's like every marching band is stupid. So it's like that's another hurdle that before we ever have any hope of like even like dreaming of getting on TV.
We got to fix the basics first.
It's
We
like,
have to get back to basics.
honestly, that'll help high school programs too, because like that was something David talked to us about when we were teaching there. Is like so many kids think band is lame, and so they don't do it, but they'd be great at it.
Yeah, they'd be so good. It's incredible. And just like, honestly, just like the whole thing of like being on a team, working for a team, working towards a common goal as a team, the character it builds from doing that. It's just like, how's that not cool? Like, are you kidding me? And everyone gets to play. Everyone gets to play. Everyone is like, you know what I'm saying? Everyone's on the same playing field because we're all doing it. So it's just like, there's nobody. It's like, oh, you're sitting on the bench this week, kid. It's like, no, everyone's going to play. No one's sitting on the bench. Like, we're all playing. I think a cool question to ask, what's some like outside sponsors that you think would be fun to have? Now we're just talking about the future of the activity. But I mean, for me, like seeing that the CEO is coming now, Nathan Boudreau, seeing that he was able to bring in Adidas and Gatorade to USA Water Ski and Wake Sports, seeing that he brought brands in like that, just how he was able to build up their revenue stream, just seeing all of that, it was just like, ooh, like if that could happen for drum corps, like imagine if Adidas and Gatorade. I mean, it
kind of like low key sponsors because everyone has the Adidas band pants.
Everyone's got the half stripe or long.
It's full stripe.
My brain is frying out right now. We need to wrap this up.
And like we dude, you want to make a drum corps kid go crazy? Give him a bottle of Gatorade.
Give him a bottle of Gatorade and then half stripe or full stripe, and there will be a big debate over that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, imagine if we could get DCI sponsored Adidas pants.
I think it would be really cool if drum corps got sponsored by like something that has absolutely nothing to do with it. You know, like what if like John Deere sponsored them? I'm just dropping names here, but like think about it.
Like Carhartt.
How are we going to move these massive props with a John Deere tractor?
With a John Deere tractor.
Right, so we get a tractor from John Deere. We put a John Deere set in the show, and then we put with the boys.
We put that deer in the show.
Hey, no, leave the shotguns at home, boys. It's not a real deer.
Oh my goodness, man. We got to wrap this up. If y'all are still listening right now, I'm so sorry. We've been doing great, though. This is a fun episode, man. We needed a fun one back. We needed a fun one again. I'm going to wrap up here. I'm going to ask you 2 more questions. Do you miss anything about the activity?
Yeah, I mean, I miss it. I don't know if I'd want to do it again, but I miss it.
I feel the same way. Like, there's things that I miss. Like for example, when I took off in 22 and I watched you and I watched Joey that summer and like I was seeing the tours and all the posts and everything, I was like, damn, I miss the bus and I miss hanging with the people and I miss the conversations and I miss staying up past lights out and just annoying everybody and the drum majors yelling at us a million times to like shut up, and we definitely don't, and just all the crazy stories that happened and the tour life. And seeing all the people I know when I was on tour and just every single state. I miss all of that. However, actually putting my body through that again, don't miss that too much. Don't miss that too much.
Yeah, there's a reason the age out age is what it is. And I think it's literally like the last year your body could physically handle doing drum corps.
Yeah, because like now I like wake up in the morning. If I sleep wrong, I'm like,
I got to
take like a solid hour to get ready for my day.
Dude, sometimes like the injuries I like march through in 22, if I go on a run or something, dude, like I'll start feeling them again. Like they're still there. And I mean, that was at the Blue Devils where they took great care of me. So, it's like.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question here. What does drum corps mean to you?
I think drum corps to me is a great opportunity to like get with a massive group of people for literally 24/7 for like 3 months of your life to focus on this one very specific thing. You don't have to worry about literally anything else. You're working towards the same one common goal, and you just get to have a great time while you do it. It's like, this one very niche thing. You're suddenly surrounded by a group of people that all love it just as much as you do.
Yeah. And
if you're in the right place, you have also an entire set of people, the staff, which are just there because they care about you. Yes. And that's probably like the only time in anyone's life where you're going to be surrounded by people that really care about you. Like such a big group of people that are all focused on you. Yeah. That's what it is to me. Is like, it's just like,
that's beautiful.
It's a good hang.
That's beautiful.
It's a good hang.
I got lost in it. I got lost in the answer, dude. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's going to make me cry. All right. That is where we're going to wrap up for this week. This has been a super fun episode. I needed one like this. You know what I'm saying? I just needed a really fun, light episode. It was still fun. We had a great conversation.
I had Theo Vaughn last week and I got Joe Rogan tomorrow, but you're pretty good too.
How much are they paying you? Jamie, can we get that on the
Jamie, pull that clip up. I gotta go take a shit.
Oh my God. All right. We got to get out of here, man. If people are still listening, we got to go. We got to end this up, dude. We got to wrap this up. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 11 of the Meet the Bus podcast. Throw it up. For the people at home, throw it up one time. You can throw up the troop sign with us. I got to put my pinky away. As we're recording, 2 days ago, I just put out the episode with the new CEO of DCI, Nathan Boudreau. If you're watching this right now, if you guys have not seen that yet, please go check that out. Episode 10. It was an incredible episode. Very insightful, very informative, incredible guy. Very excited about the future. It gets me very excited about the future. Yeah, with that, this has been episode 11 of the Meet the Bus podcast, and we will see you next week. Oh yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Nick.
No problem.
Oh my God, as the video fades to black.